Wait, Jeffrey Logan. That you are now.
Come now. 11 viewers. It's coming. already up there at center. Very sure.
Helping us celebrate Jeevan and his life with us. There is snacks and food across the end with tea. Please make yourselves comfortable and enjoy. Jeevan meant life, and he was always full of life, and I know he will be very happy that we are choosing to celebrate his life and his passion. So I take down a few notes, and I hope to get through this without crying. Bear with me. But I also want to thank everyone in this community and the family for the support that I've received. We've had a pretty long journey for 4.5 years, and through that COVID and everything else, and I couldn't have done this without friends, local friends, long distance friends, family, all kind of rooting for us and supporting us. So thank you all. I want to give one special call out to our angel in our midst, Sharmila, who on that very last, very difficult night was there to support me along with Asher in taking care of him. So I feel so blessed that she would for her, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Of course, just generally, because I'm afraid of missing out anyone, but thank you to the Menezes family, the Hingorani family, the Altaf family, and the Munshi family, and another special call out to Pooja Hingorani, who was literally my doctor on call as I went through this 5 years. Every medical decision was vetted with Pooja, and she was really amazing. So thank you so much for that too. So as I was thinking about what I wanted to speak today, I thought I'd let other speakers talk about some of the more fun and other times the experiences that they had with Jeevan. But my thought today was I've had a unique experience with him in the last 5 years in this cancer journey. And when he first got this diagnosis of cancer, I was obviously heartbroken, and I was just, this is terrible, right? It is terrible. But I also thought that from my perspective, that even with cancer, there are some things that the journey can show us. And I wanted to kind of highlight that in my few minutes today. So, In these past 5 years, for me, it showed me the strength of mind that Jeevan had. Not once did he say, why me? Not once. It showed me his fighting spirit as he went through tough treatment after treatment with no stops the past 5 years. Not once, even in the last days, did he complain about the pain he was in. It showed me his resilience with every progression. He would immediately focus on what should we do next. Don't worry, let's figure it out. It showed me his determination to never give up, to continue to strive, not just to keep the business that he had just bought 2 years ago prior to his diagnosis. He didn't just want to keep it on steady ground, but to grow it. He wanted to do that for us, his family, and for his employees. It showed me how he loved me in his actions. I was always fussing at him. I wanted the sweet words, and Jeevan was not a sweet word person. And he would always tell me it was his action. For many of you all who know him, sweet words didn't come easy for him. He was more likely to kind of give you a sarcastic remark and kind of make you laugh at that. But it was in the final days especially, I realized how much he did in actions, because which man, in the week before he dies, decides to get as much as tax paperwork finished so that I didn't have to deal with it once he was not there. I do have to check on it, he got it right, but that's a different story. And most importantly, I feel it has shown us the best side of human nature. With a diagnosis like that, I feel like all of us, our human nature to kind of love and support is able to be expressed in a much more easier manner. And with that, in the last few years, we were blessed with an outpouring of love, care, and support to lift us from family, friends, and community. Our pain was their pain, our tears were their tears, and our smiles were their smiles. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am to be with you all. Each and every one of you have supported us, from teachers, family, friends, Rosary group. I don't want to list because I think it will, I will miss out somebody, but I feel so blessed at this point, even though I know have a long journey ahead in trying to take care of the kids, but I know we can do it with the support structure that we have right now. So even though we had cancer, I do think that it has helped us, because we made that choice to love and live every day as much as we could with COVID. We took trips and everything. For all of y'all, it's so true. Health is wealth. Enjoy today. Do not take it for granted, and don't have to go through cancer to kind of decide that you are going to enjoy today. And finally, cancer has given my children an understanding of empathy, grace, and resilience during suffering through the example of Jeevan. And so, Jeevan, the role model you have been in your life is all that the kids will need. Your work was done here on earth. Rest in peace. So, I just want to say, anyone who would like to speak, please come forward. There are a few, obviously family speeches. But if the children wanted this celebration to hear about their dad, different perspectives, different experiences. So I hope you don't get bored of playing, because everyone seems to be eager. So I'm very happy to have the children hear who their dad was to all of you. So come forward if you have a little story, or if you would feel like talking. But I think the next we have here is Alanis.
My dad was my superhero. He couldn't fly, but he could take us anywhere we wanted to go. He didn't have mind control, but he gave the best advice. He couldn't see the future, but he made sure we had one. A great one. He had a lot of other powers: spider killing, bad joke telling, typical dad stuff. But my personal favorite was his super strength. Most people here were fortunate enough to see him at some point when he was fighting cancer, and everyone could see how incredible he was. I got to see him every day, and I am still in awe of his determination, bravery, and most of all, his never-fading smile. One of my first memories of that smile is when my dad taught me how to ride a bike. He would hold on to the back of my seat and run with me so I wouldn't fall over. Every time before I started pedaling, I would yell, "Dada, make sure you don't let go." And he did, until he did. The first time he let go, I rode my bike for maybe 20 seconds. The little 4-year-old Alanis couldn't care less. I got so mad at him that he let go that I completely overlooked the fact that I had ridden my bike for the first time. And he thought it was hilarious. He had that smile on his face. He had that same smile on his face a couple of years ago when I asked if he could go to the Harry Styles concert. It was expensive and on school night, so he said no. It was heartbroken and spent the evening booming, and so my dad did something. He found a high-quality recording of the entire Harry Styles concert in Chicago on YouTube. He put it on our TV, turned off all the lights, and turned the speakers up so high the neighbors could probably hear. And he stayed and danced with me in our living room for the entire day of that 2-hour concert. That night, by the way, made my dad a bigger Harry Styles fan than I was. Later, he told me that he regretted not going to that concert because of his newfound love for Harry Styles. But I didn't. Because of that smile I got to see on his face. That goofy, loving smile that made me feel like the happiest person on the planet. We could think that we're all gathered here today because we won't be able to see that smile again. But I'd rather celebrate the 15 years that I did get to see his smile. So to my Dada, thank you for the joy that you brought to our lives, for choosing to smile when you had every reason not to. And most of all, thank you for being the best role model that Jane and I could ever ask for. Thank you for being our hero.
So I was asked to put together a few words for my dad, but really there aren't enough words to describe that I can use. He's the biggest goofball I've ever met. You can see it from these pictures. I can picture the way his face would light up telling a joke, knowing full well he might be the only person that would understand it, and might be the only person that would laugh. At a party, he would always make sure everyone was listening so he could give his joke. Quiet everyone down so he could deliver a one-liner. But again, I'm not sure how many people understood. The stupid faces and old jokes is something I'm going to miss so much. But he was also one of the most practical people I knew. He would never let me miss a day of school, always look for the best deal, and he would always give us input, ask for or not. In the past couple of days, I've heard so much about how people learn from him, and the support they got from him, and I can say I got the exact same. But what I want people to remember about my dad is he knew how to live his life to the fullest. You read in the obituary that we may get him grief, and he was a goofball and such, but he gave me so much. I've been across the world because of him. Even as a kid, I was shown so much. National parks, museums, different countries. He and Mom knew that they were going to show me everything I wanted to see. At home, he taught me too. I can't always say I was the best listener, but I can truthfully say that his advice was taken to heart. He was never overbearing. He never told me that I had to do something or to do something. He made sure that I knew what was best for me. Even on his last day, he told me that I could do whatever I wanted. He gave me and my family life. He was a backbone for us, guiding us and providing stability. With his business and everything around the house, there was comfort knowing that we would be okay because he was working on it. He even said himself, "Don't worry, things will be okay." And with him there, he would believe it. That is what I admired most about him. He kept on living. No matter the odds, he kept giving to me, my family, everyone close to him. He would make sure to sit with us, even when tired, to be there with his family. He would wake up every morning to see us off to school, just to show us he loved us. Even in the hospital, he made sure to wake up and call us on that last week. He kept living up until the very last day and never complained. I will miss having that every single day of my life. So today, let's not only mourn a life lost, but celebrate a life well lived. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Preeti. I feel a little emotional, okay, but I'll still complete it. So, on behalf of my parents, I would like to say that my parents are very proud of him. He was a very, very loving son to them. And my elder
brother and I couldn't be here with his big condolences. So I had a very unique relationship with Jeevan. He was my parent, he was my best friend, and I'm going to miss him. And Rita, Gladys, and Jeevan, I will try to lead your lives the way he was in mine.
So Jeevan's sister has to be followed by Ovita's brother. It's a difficult time. So 22 years ago, when Ovita and Jeevan got married, they invited me to raise the toast. And I did not think that it would be so soon that I would be standing here to make another speech, but under not so happy circumstances. But I am here today to represent my family, those who are here and those who are not. I don't know if they can see this event, but surely they witnessed Mass. And I'm sure that what I'm going to say today will echo with all of them, my side of the family, as well as Jeevan's side of the family, clearly. I got a few pointers to guide me through this process. So, indeed, when Jeevan and Vanita got married, so soon, Jeevan became the cornerstone in our family. I use this word not simply, I mean it, because there was nothing that we would not do without having him as part of the discussion. So much so that I can say today that my mother counted Jeevan as her third son, and all of us counted him as one more brother. I always think that this is a celebration of life, and so many people. It's evident that Jeevan's life, deserved being celebrated. And those who are celebrated are called celebrities. But there are some public celebrities who, everybody knows and everybody kind of has adulation for. But there are some private celebrities who we know in private. And Jeevan, to be very honest with you, without exaggeration, was a celebrity in our family. And so, I think it is very worthy and deserving that we get together today to celebrate this rather short life. I can't say it's too short here, but he's achieved so much with his life. So, I was trying to think, why did one person come in, make such a difference, and achieve celebrity status in our family? And I have a few things that, that strike me about Jeevan's personality, which I like to, say to you. The first one was, he was always available, always. In good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. Which leads me to believe that when he actually took that vow, he was not only including Arita in that vow, but he included the whole of the family. He was there for us all the time. To my mind, he was empathy personified. He was not the guy you would see empathy written on his face, but in his actions, and how he said, he was empathy personified. He was a guy with, undoubtedly, very high IQ. He was a very intelligent person. But I think when it came to family, his EQ shone more. Let me give you an example. In the last days, when I was fortunate to spend some time when I came here, before, I was here from the 22nd to from the 16th. And we were deciding that my wife, who's a nurse, should actually come down to be of help to Aida. And so, we were planning who should be with my mother who was 81 years old back in India. And even though we knew that the urgency of the situation was that my wife be here, and we said that we'll make arrangements for a maid to be with my mother, he would have none of it. He would say nothing doing, that we first need to ensure that mom is not alone, that she has to be with family somewhere or the other. And only after that gets done, can you start thinking of how, Myanmar can come down to the United States. And we figured a solution. But even in those moments when he needed help the most, he was first of all concerned as to what would happen to my mother. There's no better example of a man's empathy than this particular one. In my view, he was selfless. He never put himself first. I've never seen himself put himself first. It was always about the other person. It was always about making sure that the other person was well taken care of. The example that I just mentioned, also brings that home. He was a very generous person. Very generous. If he had something that one of us needed more, we could be sure that he would give it of his own accord. And I don't need to spell out examples, but I know that everyone in our family has had the experience of one or the other incident of Jeevan's generosity. We know in our hearts, and I don't think he would like us to talk about it in public, but we know that the man was extremely generous. For Jeevan, I can say one thing, family meant everything. Now I want to tell you two things which probably people don't know. Arita had very difficult pregnancies, early on. And once we were all in Goa, and she had to undergo a pregnancy test. She was at home. Nirma, Jeevan, myself, we went to get the test done, and the test turned out negative. And Jeevan was so hoping that it was the pregnancy was positive. He was weeping. He was weeping when the test came out that he would still have to wait another time. But God was kind to him. Because today when I see Jeevan and Alice, I think that he now has the two wonderful children, that any man could have wished for. I hope that he would be there with them longer, but sometimes it's destiny. The other thing that I've seen, I was very fortunate to come to America several times, and I used to come maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I would make it a point to visit Jeevan, and he used to make available for me the best bourbon, the best scotch, and I used to think that, I'm coming here, I'm very, very happy with this, I'm sincere about this. But every time he dropped me to the airport, he would say thank you. And I would say, why are you thanking me? I should be thanking you for the good bourbon and the good scotch. And his answer always was, my children need a connection with the family. Every single time he said this. And so therefore, he wanted the bond with the family. So I took longer than I was supposed to, but I still got a little more. So let me close by saying, let me close this. We had a WhatsApp group, family group. Unfortunately, Jeevan is not there to comment. I know that someday we will meet and we will ignite or rejuvenate this WhatsApp group. I hope the Wi-Fi up there is as good as it is here. And, so that will be fun all over again. So in closing, rest in peace, my brother Jeevan. You may have passed from this life, but the legacy you have left behind is deeply etched in our hearts. Your memory will endure forever. Thank you for a wonderful life. How I wish we could have had more of it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason. I'm Jeevan's first cousin. So I've known Jeevan all throughout my life. Since school days, I've been going to him for guidance, especially on career he's considered one of the smarter ones in the Sequoia clan. So I think my mom was secretly hoping that I end up like him. But even if I look back, I actually followed a lot of his footsteps. I did engineering, moved to US, had 2 kids, married a girl who was more fun than me. So yeah, it did happen. So when I think of Jeevan, two qualities stand out for me. At least. So the first is his ability to give guidance in any scenario. And it's just not me, I see his sister, a lot of his family going to him for advices and counsel. And I think it's something about Jeevan, his inviting and his comforting nature, the way he listens, you tend to open up a little more. And his suggestions are always very measured, logical, and it makes a lot of sense. And his second quality would be his sense of humor, and as everyone has already commented, it isn't great. It can be terrible at times, but he has a joke for every scenario. And most cases we don't laugh at a joke, at the silliness of the joke, but we laugh nevertheless. And that's Jeevan, right? He wants everyone around him to have a good time. And that's really the reason why we just enjoy being close to Jeevan. To the family, Jeevan, especially Jeevan and Alan's, with your dad's heart so big and vibrant, it's hard not to miss him. I mean, everyone misses terribly, and unfortunately, there's no way around it. And our minds will constantly play these games where it will always imagine life with Jeevan. It will always try to remember Jeevan in his last few days of suffering. But the way I'm going to approach it is think of Jeevan in the happy days, all the happy memories. And with that, I want to share one. And I just saw a photo of Jeevan and my younger son Juan playing a board game together. So a quick backstory on that. So whenever Jeevan comes down to California, he and his family makes it a point to spend a few days with us. And both Jeevan and my younger son Juan, they have this personality where they are like really stubborn and they hate losing. And you can see that they really well when they're playing a board game together, be it Ludo or Snake Ladder. So my son, whenever when he tends to lose, he plays all these dirty tricks of top to the board and running away. And for most adults, they would accept it, and because he's a kid, right? But not you. So if one topples the board, he will put the board back together, all the pieces, and he'll try to complete the game till he wins. And in one scenario, when one was losing, he just ran away, closing his ears, saying that I won. And you would see Jeevan following him with the board, saying, no, you lost. That was, every time I think of it, it distracts me. Yes, so, this is one of the countless memories I have, and I'm so honored to spend those days with Jeevan that I will share it for the rest of my life. I want to end with a poem that one of our cousins, Sandeep, his wife, wrote in honor of Jeevan on behalf of all his cousins. So it goes like, jovial cousin of ours, an inspiration in a true sense. Everything you said and did is of value immense. A loving son, brother, beloved husband, talking dad, of favorite brother-in-law, uncle and friend to many. Versatile and virtuous human being with a vibrant smile and a sense of humor so kind. Admiringly positive in your thinking despite all adversities. Noble cousin, Jeevan, we miss you dearly, but memories of you will last for eternity. Rest in peace, Jeevan. Thank you.
Very great uncle, and I
just go through this. I stand here today as Amita's brother and his wife, and I'd also like to call myself Jeevan's younger sister. I speak today only because of the opportunities that I had to spend time with the family during these holidays in the US and India. If there is one word that would describe Jeevan, it would be practical. And so, like most practical people, Jeevan was his own man. He was outspoken and a man of action. He did not spend too much energy trying to please others, more than just looking at how things could be. He looked at how they really are. He could be blunt, or sometimes a little sharp, but he did not like beating around the bush or being wishy-washy. This outspokenness, I'm sure, added to his credibility at work and, of course, dependability at home. As a host, he was gracious, welcoming, and went all out to make my stays comfortable and memorable. He was amused and sometimes critical about how I used to spend a whole day at the mall and return back holding just 1 or 2 bags, and then return back to the mall to return some of it. He was invested not only in the future of his own kids, but also in the futures of his nephews-in-law. Jeevan was a risk-taker. Post the diagnosis of lung cancer, Rita used all her resources and background knowledge, and together they visualized the risks, measured them, and went head on, understanding that there would be ups and downs. They were faced with more hurdles along the way, but that did not cloud them. I am also here to speak on behalf of my mother-in-law, who is also his mother-in-law, whom he affectionately called Nana. Finding a son-in-law who can fit perfectly well in the family is challenging. Jeevan and she were connected not by blood or DNA, but by trust, respect, love, and supportive calls to each other. Jeevan, Mom wants to say, it has been a privilege to have you as a son. Thank you for being such a lovely and helpful son. But she still wants to know, where did you throw out her broken hammer? Jaden and Alice, you make your parents proud. The grounding that you have received from your mom and dad is reflected very well in your sense of reality. You too have set for yourselves very clear goals, and I see no doubting, speculating, or hesitating. Your dad will constantly send his encouraging touch at every milestone in your life. Rita, no one would have cared for Jeevan better than you did. May you be comforted by your many, many happy memories. I love you. Jeevan, I'm going to miss those perfectly done juicy steaks, those drop-offs and pickups at the malls, those mountain trips, and seeing you in that chair near the fireplace. May you rest in peace.
So, we have a WhatsApp group where the group is called Jeevan Melroy, and that basically means friends joined by the heart. And that's what we were. We were the chosen family of each other and really joined with our hearts. So Rita, I've known her for 27 years. She was my first roommate or my only roommate when I came to this country. And we were both doing our PhDs together. So we had a couch, we would call that our therapy couch. Many nights were spent with, she bought bottles of wine, talking about his parents, and talking a lot about boys, because, we were young and we were talking about our futures. And in comes this introduction about Jeevan from her cousin Gloria. And, he sounded pretty perfect on paper, so, of course, knowing, we were scientists, we were pretty skeptical, no one can be that perfect. So Jeevan comes down to Jackson, Mississippi to meet Rita, and my brother happened to be there, so we went out for lunch. And he knew what it was. We were completely scrutinizing him, assessing him, because we were going to have a detailed analysis in the evening. And he was great. He was handsome, he was charming, he was confident in the face of that scrutiny. And he just fit right in, like completely. There wasn't even a minute of doubt that the two of them were perfect for each other. And at that point, my brother was entirely relieved that Rita had made a practical choice of marrying an engineer who actually made money, as opposed to one of her scientists who was just, he thought wouldn't amount to anything at that point. So we've been very fortunate to share a lot of our life journeys together, all the big moments and the small moments, from engagements to weddings to having kids and now seeing them all grow into unique humans of their own. But we've also been there with each other through all the downs, right? So whether it was illnesses and now death. And this is truly family, where we're there for each other. As I was thinking about Jeevan, and a lot of you have mentioned this, you really couldn't stereotype him because, he was Indian, he was American, he didn't believe in male-female gender stereotypes. We're Hindu, he's Catholic, never got in the way of our discussions. It was great because we always could have a conversation about anything, whether it was work, life, family. And he offered his opinion without imposing it on you, right? And that was wonderful because he would support you no matter what you chose or how you chose to live your life. And we were reminiscing about just even in the last couple of weeks, when we last talked to him, my brother and I got into a discussion about SAP skills. And he had all the wisdom in the world of how he would approach it now that he knows what he knows, and how he would plan for high school and how we should go about it. So, that's going to be our guiding light. Jeevan, never did things because he was supposed to do things one way or another. He did things because he thought that was the right way of doing things, and he lived life to his own tune. And that translated into him being a man of action, as we like to call him. A lot of us thought we were pretty high achieving, including Rita was always working, very hard, and then comes Jeevan, and he just put us all to shame because everyone turned to Jeevan's awesome at doing this, and everyone forgot about Rita for a bit. He was very self-reliant, he just executed. We would have so many get-togethers where a whole bunch of us would be sitting talking about, what to make for breakfast, and before you knew it, he had already made breakfast for 20 people, had it, and he's like, it's there, eat it guys, and move on, right? While we would be discussing where we would go and visit during the day, we would go take a nap, have a glass of, have a beer, and then come back, have you guys make your decision yet? So there was a lot of that. Similarly, his friend started his business. He knew he was ready to take on that next step, and his friend did it. He was extremely self-reliant. On a personal note, Jeevan's always been very thoughtful. We've all got all kinds of stories. I'm going to give one from my dad, who isn't here, but my dad loves Jeevan. He adores him. He's always been a super gentleman. And in 2008, my dad went through a pretty complex brain surgery. And he was in the hospital for a month. And Jeevan and Rita visited us at that time. And one morning, Jeevan was like, I'm going to go spend time with Uncle in the hospital, and you guys should stay home, giving us a break. We stopped on the way, picked up some biscuits, picked up things that he thought my dad would like. We just went and spent time with him, and that was it. Like, it wasn't a big deal, it wasn't a big fuss. And my dad totally appreciated that. And even all the other times we would visit them in Iowa or North Carolina, you know, it would be in passing, like, hey, Uncle, you want this beer? And my dad would be like, oh, I don't like that one, maybe Corona is what I like. Or like, you know, you would see him not eating like the hard chips, he preferred soft chips. I don't know when he would do it, but you know, suddenly in the next hour or two, like there would be bottles of Corona, there would be chips. He just monitored how people, what they wanted and made that happen. And it was just very effortless. He just made it seem effortless. So Jeevan Uncle loved kids. Jeevan Uncle to all our kids. He's great with them. He plays with them. He teases them. My son, one of our hikes, like refusing to like walk uphill, but always running downhill very quickly when he was like 4 or 5. With his own kids, he's been a fantastic dad, right? I see so much of him in both of you. Jeevan, from your looks to your calm and thoughtful demeanor, Alana's your amazing passion and single-minded pursuit of whatever you want to do. Both of you have the best from both your parents, right? And they have done an incredible job, and we are so proud to see you guys grow and will continue to be there. I was told not to talk about anything sad, so I will say that, you know, while nobody is perfect, I think Jeevan was pretty perfect. And we really, really love him, and we will miss him immensely. And Erika, Jane, Alanis, you are our family, and we love you always, and we'll be
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a good, I guess, anecdote to follow because Orita and I go back, I guess, many, many years. 1993, I think, where we were graduate students together in Missouri. And then over the years, you know, things have been, we've been friends, and as she got married, we got to meet Jeevan and be part of the family. And it's been, I guess it's been what now? 20, I don't know my math, 20, 27 years or 30 years? 30 years. Time flies, right? We've kept in touch. We heard the news on Saturday morning, and why I'm saying this, and I talked to Param, I said, you know what, this is the news, and I want to say this because Param turned 18 last week, and he had an event, a get-together with his friends this evening, and I said, Param, what do you want to do? He said, what is there to do? We have to go and see Jeevan Uncle. So I think that is a testament of what Jeevan was. Even though knowing, you know, Param has grown with them, grown with Alanis and Jaden for the last 18 years. And he's just amazing. He was amazing, and I'll give some specific examples. We talked about the breakfast being ready, the best scrambled eggs ever. I would say that for sure. We would go from Chicago, or they would come stay with us, or we would go to Coralville, Iowa for many Thanksgivings and Christmas. We were ready. We would leave say Sunday or the next morning. We would have scrambled eggs ready because he knew we loved it, and he would make that for us. His grace, saying grace during Thanksgiving and Christmas is the all-time best ever. I still remember many of them. I don't want to go into the detail. But I think in general, I would say, again, I think I'm reiterating what people are saying, that he was very thoughtful, just there for all of us. As it was mentioned, we went through hardships and pregnancies too. I remember, despite them going through it, he was there for us and would come with flowers to celebrate our rainbow baby and say, it's okay. And like we said, it was said, don't worry, things will work out. And it did, and we have, 18-year-old son. We're very proud of him too. One thing I wanted to also say, and one of my distinct memories, as you guys asked to share, was the twinkle in eye when we got to meet his third child. Well, it was his company, the Consolidated Industrial Supply Company. We got to go there and visit the company like a few months after it was bought. You could just see the joy. I think it was like a lifetime dream fulfilled. And just going through it, and there were a couple of people there, meeting them. And then I had the opportunity to drive back with him and just have a long discussion on all the changes they had to go through and how he's happy he has done that. All in all, it is absolutely our privilege to have been part of Jeevan's life, I guess, and be his friend. And again, Orita, Jaden, and Alanis, we are there for you. And I know, Jaden, you've got something important this year as you start applying for colleges. And we know how we've talked to Jeevan a lot, and he's always like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. We are there for you as you go through it, and Alanis, as you pursue your dreams. And Orita, again, we are there for you as a shoulder leaning on. And again, thank you. And it's amazing to see everyone here. And from my husband, Satya, and from it's a privilege and honor, and Jeevan, rest in peace.
Hello everyone, I'm Paul. I count it a true honor to have had a friend in Jeevan, and I didn't really write down anything. I just want to speak from the heart. He was a special person, and Arita and Jaden and Alanis, you all have been so kind, and I guess known you all for 15 years or so. I don't know, but I just want to say he really made an impact on my life. He was a very smart man. I'm a local realtor, so we was very fortunate enough to help you. And so we had many lunches together. So we always talked about the family. He was very smart. He tried to help me, tried to teach me so much. And he did, and he really did. But he was always smiling. And never complained, as you said, but I'm going to miss him. And when I got the news, I was just heartbroken. I really was, and he's going to always just be forever with me. Great memories. I will miss him. Thank you.
I'm his nephew, and he was a very great and kind man to me. So when I came to North Carolina, I didn't even want to go there. And then when I saw him go to he first did a joke, and then I found it so funny. I thought he was even more funnier than my dad. And then I really loved how he was so smart, and he never gave up. When I heard the news when he passed away, I was heartbroken, and I locked myself in the room and cried almost all day. And he was, even though I never saw him I don't see him every single day or something, but every day I see him, it counts.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Peter, and I started out as a work friend, similar to the previous speaker, and became a friend later on when Jeevan moved the family down here to North Carolina. But we went on many trips together, especially to Europe, because that's where I'm from originally. And on one of those trips, we went to an old German city that is known for their Christmas presents. And Jeevan was shopping all day long. And we were looking at each other, those Germans, saying, where's he going to put all that stuff? And at the end of the day, he looked at all of us and said, you're carrying it back. And we looked at each other again and said, what do you mean? He said, you want to sell me more machines? And we said, yes. Then you help me carry this stuff back to the US. It's for my family. And we did. So this describes Jeevan for me to the T, because he was tough on the outside, but he was also very soft. He wanted to bring these Christmas presents home to the family, and there were a couple of Germans around who were big enough to carry them back, so our suitcases were filled to the brim when we arrived back here in the US, and then we shipped it all back to you in Iowa. So that was my little story with Jeevan. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, my name is, I've had a unique opportunity to have Jeevan be my customer. And I've heard an awful lot of things about Jeevan today, and I would tell you that they're all true. You said that he didn't have a soft or a sweet side?
No, he didn't have sweet words.
Sweet words,
Words.
okay.
He had a soft side, but his word, it was hard for him to be very flattery, and I wanted the flattery, but it was like not happening.
Well, we had a very interesting situation at work in Iowa one day, and Jeevan was not very pleased with me. And he looked at me and he scolded me and he said, now, Eddie, what are you going to say about that? I stood up from the conference table, I folded my book, and I said, I love you. And I'll say this as he did. He looked at me and he said, man, you're crazy. But I did love Jeevan. He was my friend. I cared for him greatly when we had a business association, and then when he moved here to take on the opportunity to buy this company, to infuse it with his DNA and to change it. And he did such a great job. He did. To sit back from the distance and watch him how he loved his children was incredible. I remember he came to our office and he were going through some challenging times. We shut the door and we prayed. Man, did he know how to love. He did. And he was an interesting person to me because when he was so smart, he was brilliant. Whether it was woodworking equipment or business in general, Jeevan was incredibly gifted and brilliant. He would ferret out the right directions and the right decisions, and he always came to the right conclusion. Always. So when he came here, we became even closer. And I told Jeevan every time I saw him, I would take him by his hand, and I'd tell him I love him. Always, without fail. I told him one day that I was his brother. He looked at me and he said, Eddie, I know my mother, and my mother is gorgeous. You are not my brother. And you are, and I got to meet you. Thank you. But Jeevan was my friend, and I'll miss him. But I know this for sure. I will see him again. we'll get to have more stories. And we'll get to share more life experiences. And I'll get to share some things that he may not be able to see. But for you, and for you, and for you, I am here for you. I will not leave you. I will not forsake you. Because I love you. Thank you.
I'm happy to have more people come, but we have a little game on the table that we can take a pause. Is we have pictures on the tables, and the thing is, can you spot Jeevan? These are like, when he was very young. Who can identify where Jeevan is in those pictures? Mom and Menezes family is not allowed. Anyone needs a picture? Oh, yeah. Maybe sometime. Whose concert is it? Has everyone had a chance? It's a black and white picture. Where do you think Jeevan is in this picture? Yes. So that's him right there. Facing the crowd. He's the one looking at the crowd next to the older man. He's the older man. This one is easier, right? The color picture. Where do you think it is up to? The top. Right. Who thinks he looks like David? That's crazy, right? That's pretty crazy. Yeah. So do we have others who are ready to speak? Is anyone who said they want to speak? I'm going to point this people.
My name is Jude, and I was a classmate of Jeevan's in Bangalore, St. Sancho's High School. And I remember him as being a very smart dude, smart, and I really thought that this guy is going to go places. I don't know if anybody knows, but we used to call him Mango. That was his nickname in school. So I think maybe he liked mangoes. He used to buy from one of the vendors outside, or maybe because he was Mangalorean. So the debate still goes on with the batchmates and the classmates. So fast forward to New York, I had the opportunity to meet him, reconnect with him in the last 2 or 3 years. He was very proud of his business that he purchased, and he gave me some good insights too in running a business. And I was just so happy to see him and meet him. And I thought maybe I'm going to make a trip, a road trip, to come and see him. but I guess time does not wait. So rest in peace, my friend Jeevan.
By the way, if you go to New York, you should go to Jude's restaurant, which is amazing, for one. And then secondly, he was the best rooftop bar in New York because Jeevan had the best night that night. What's the name of this? The press. I don't know. Anyone else? Naresh? No? No? The video messages? Maybe we can also see all the pictures of that. There are a lot of family pictures. Yeah, that would be nice. Yes.
Yeah, it's just picture coming on.
Should I tell Nicola to speak?
Yeah, if somebody's ready, yeah.
Hi, I'm Nicola. I'm here with my husband Michelle from California. We met Dorita when we moved to Coralville, Iowa, from Texas. And I think Dorita and Jeevan were the first people to have us in their home, and they had us in their home many times over the 4 or 5 years that we overlapped in Coralville, Iowa. Jeevan was an exceptional host, and Dorita too. We always had the best bottles of wine, Scotch, or whatever you wanted to drink, he was glad. Jeevan was an exceptional cook as well, and always, I remember having discussions with him, and he was always so attentive. You felt like you were the only person in the room when you were talking to him, and he had his full attention, and he always had good advice to give to you. Sometimes it made me feel like, that was so simple. Why did I think about that? That was Jeevan, always very practical and very thoughtful. The last time we visited with family when we moved to North Carolina was in December 2019. And I remember Jeevan had just come back from one of his therapies a day or two before. And he was quite tired. We woke up in the morning and there was Jeevan making breakfast. I don't know how to describe it, but Mexican chorizo with eggs on naan bread. And I'm proud to say that Jeevan still lives on our home because we have that so often. Every time you ask our daughter, nice, what do you want to have? I want to have the Uncle Jeevan because it's Uncle Jeevan. So, we were shocked on Saturday when we got the news. Terribly saddened because we used to thought that there could be so many more years of fun with Jeevan, so many more years of listening to him, listening to his jokes, but I guess it's the work was done. He is delivered two beautiful kids.
I know. That one, I mean.
He is, everybody here just out all over to celebrate his life. It's just a sign of who the person Jeevan was. So, to you, Marita, David, just say, be strong. And I have heard Jeevan say, don't worry, whoever gets up. And we are always here. We're always here.
Thank you so much.
Jeevan and I grew up in Bandra. We went to St. Stanislaus and were captains in the 10th grade. We went to St. Xavier's College for the 11th and 12th grades. Our paths diverged when we went to do engineering, but we kept in touch. When we came to the US, our paths converged, along with Reynold and Paul D'Souza. Growing up in Stanislaus, Jeevan was called Mango in school. Someone found out that he was a Mangorian and coined the term mango. Very creative, I would say. I believe it stuck with Jeevan all these years. But in hindsight, I think mango suited Jeevan well. What started as mango became a man on the go. As a man on the go, Jeevan breezed through his studies in Father Regnell's and Clemson and weaved his way successfully in corporate America. Found Orita and started a beautiful family, and ventured into his dream of being an entrepreneur in North Carolina. I have to say, compared to me, Jeevan is focused and a go-getter. He's a planner, never got stuck with analysis paralysis. He pursued his plans, and when there were hurdles, he figured things out. After all, he was Mango. His Mango legacy will continue to live on in Jaden and Alanis as a woman on the go. And knowing Jeevan, he will watch over them, guide them, and help them figure things out. I enjoyed Jeevan's company. We debated social issues, politics, corporate strategy. He always had a unique angle, something beyond the obvious. I'll miss those conversations. Jeevan and Orita approached his cancer in a practical and methodical way. I met Jeevan in social and one-on-one interactions as he was going through his treatment. He did not complain. He did not show his pain. He spoke about his treatment in a positive manner, and in a very seamless way, he changed the topic. I personally am impressed in the way he handled his battle with cancer, something that will stay with me and inspire me as I plod through life and face life's challenges. I celebrate Jeevan's life with rich and meaningful memories. Memories of us growing up, journeys through life, and all our interactions and our family meetups. I celebrate Jeevan's life with the comfort and gratitude of having him as a good friend for almost all of his 54 years. I will continue to celebrate Jeevan's life by keeping in mind his smile, his laughter, his positive and let's figure things out as we go attitude. I celebrate Jeevan for a life well lived and knowing he is pain-free and healthy. And last but not the least, Jeevan and I will continue to celebrate life with Dukramas and Sannas, which I hope is on the menu for tonight. Till we meet again, Jeevan, watch over us from heaven as we figure out our lives on earth. Peace.
Hi, my name is Sandeep and I'm Jeevan's first cousin. There's a gap of 2 years between us. Growing up with Jeevan, I remember him as being the academically most gifted among us cousins, and he being his parents' golden boy. Also enjoying Mangalorean food made by his late grandmother Mai and his mom. Jeevan hardly ever showed his sufferings. I remember 5 years back when he sent a message in a cousin's WhatsApp group telling us that he had cancer. It was without any drama and said in such a blasé way that I had doubts if it was true or not. I also did Jeevan telling me that we all got minor illnesses while he had the main course, while we had the entrees. I can so imagine Jeevan telling me in the days after we lost him, don't cry, go enjoy your life. Hence, let's try not to cry, but celebrate a life well lived. Jeevan, I will obviously miss you. Till we meet again, Sandeep.
Sandeep has said it all, but I'd like to add a few things. Our hearts go out to you, dear Rita, Jaden and Alanis, as we have lost a very precious member of our family. Jeevan will continue to be an inspiration to all of us, and although gone too soon, will remain forever in our hearts. Although I have only met him a few times, I have felt the warmth, positivity, and love every time we met and FaceTimed. True to his name, his Jeevan has been a great testimony of love, commitment, and hope for all of us here. Built on his memories, I have composed a poem for our loving cousin Jeevan. Jovial cousin of ours, an inspiration in the truest sense, everything you said and did is of value immense. Ever-loving son and brother, beloved husband, doting dad, a favorite brother-in-law, uncle, and friend to many. Versatile and virtuous human being with a vibrant smile and sense of humor so canny. Admirably positive in your thinking despite all adversity. Noble cousin Jeevan, we will miss you dearly, but memories of you will last for eternity.
So while we wait for, awesome.
Hi there. My name's Carl, and I got to know you and the family over the last few years. I will never eat a mango again. I will think of him every time now, for sure. We got to know each other because our children are friends. And for those of us who have been blessed to be parents and have children, and are of a certain age, I'm not friends with all my kids' parents. I don't need any more friends. But over a few years ago, we were invited over for dinner. Rita was going to teach us, and she did, how to cook the family curry. And it was wonderful. And we got a chance to know each other. And over the last few years, we've had dinners. And I consider them quite special. But now I realize that we were not alone. They were special for me because Jeevan and Rita, Jaden, and Alanis are such light. But he's been doing this for decades. I didn't get breakfast, though, so I gotta work on that. At one of these dinners, I can't remember where, Jim and Alanis, you weren't there at the time, but there were 3 deep holes in the yard. We were just looking. He said, well. But I think he would have wanted, they would have laughed at that. He was super smart. He did tell me once after dinner that the Norwegian military had started putting barcodes on their ships so they could Scandinavian. He sends his love. He was always prepared, and he was clearly a success because this He prepped the entire community to be around and available for all three of you, and we are blessed to be able to be here, and we will be. We love you. To Jeevan.
Yeah, I want the family pictures when they were small, but I don't know. Oh, Naresh? Oh, sorry. Naresh, sorry. Not very important. Oh, sorry.
Hi, my name is Naresh and I'm part of that same Jigri Dost clan. A lot of what has already been said about Jeevan, is the same repetition of themes, the man, the consistency of the man. Right? And the first time we met as part of the evaluation lunch, it was just instant liking. We had similar backgrounds. We were both industrial engineers. I could see that he was so practical, right? Everything he achieved, everything he approached in life, whether it was in business or any simple things, was commonsensical. He would break down a problem, he would figure out what is coming in the way, and he would offer that advice. And it would be on the dot, right? It would always be on the dot. We've had so many experiences where, just to keep adding anecdotes, we used to sort of go and, I think for Rita's 40th birthday, all of us had visited Iowa, and I think he had like a big boat that he had rented out. Half of us were phobic of getting on it. None of us knew how to ride it. He's like, well, what's going to happen? We'll figure it out. And we all went on it. We had a great time. But there are so many such episodes of him just going forward. He would give a thought through it. We would all jump on it with him, and we would just have a wonderful, awesome time, right? Everybody in our family, everybody in our extended family, everybody in our friends circle, everyone had the same similar sort of opinion about him. The last conversation, one of the last conversations I was mentioning, I had with him, and he was so proud of both Jaden and Gladys, and we got on to the sort of the SAT stuff, and he just broke it down on, he was very proud of Jaden on how he had approached, how he had, he was ready for it, and but he also then analyzed the system, right? What is this whole SAT system? Is this working for the country or not? He would sort of offer up an opinion on that front. He would take another tangent and he would say, okay, just don't look at that. Go back and plan for all the 4 years of high school for your son. And so just he has so many different interesting angles to any simple small thing, and he would offer it up. Like he wouldn't sort of, hey, this is how I did it. This is what you can improve upon. So it's that continuous Kaizen, I call him in his industrial engineering background that showed up. The last few years, and I happened to be the wife of the husband of the doctor, Rita mentioned Pooja, and I would sort of sit on the side and see Rita and Jeevan sort of approach this whole sort of this journey, and it was just fascinating to hear every conversation. They had not left any stone unturned jointly, right, in terms of how they, we were given questions, if you did not have that intellect or the knowledge of the system and the disease, how would a common person even think about it, right? And I think they pushed the limits of every system, of every pathway they could find, and it was just absolutely fascinating and amazing to see how they all fought it together as a family, right? And the kids were there, and this was just a beautiful sort of journey as I see it, to be celebrated. So, it's all of us have had heavy hearts, but I think this is a time of celebration, so we're all there for you again, to Jeevan. We'll never ever forget you. You'll always be in our memories, and to Rita, Jaden, Alanis, you're just family. So, thank you.
Hello, I'm Stephen. I know Jeevan and Rita from my time working together with Rita in Iowa. This is very intimidating. Everyone's very well spoken. And I do a lot of speaking these days, but when things like this happen, I don't know how to cope with it very well, but I think the one thing for me is to try and come back with what did we learn, right, from this individual, and what makes it special, and there's lots of things. I mean, you guys came a year and a half ago over, he helped me with some thoughts I had around the business that I'm in. But I think for me, the most important thing is just his joy of life and experiences. And the memory that comes to mind for me, that reminds me most of Jeevan, is we were sitting outside and we had a bunch of kids. This is probably 10 years ago. I had a 2-year-old son who was somewhat mischievous. And they were all on the slip and slide. There were about 10 little kids on there. And I was talking to Jeevan, and he's just laughing hysterically. And I look over and I'm like, what are you laughing at? And I see my son walking up the slip and slide really slow, as slow as he could possibly go, in like a line of 10 kids trying to go down. And I was like, oh man, I gotta go get him. He's like, why would you go get him? This is great. And we did. We sat there and he did that probably 10 times and stopped all the kids from slip and slide. And I think just that turn of looking at life like that is something that we all can learn from. And while his life was shorter than we wanted, I'm sure that he experienced a lot more life than many of us have and will. So something I take with me, and you guys should too.
Should we play the family pictures? Is there a way to get to those?
The
old
video
ones,
back
they were
again?
pretty cool.
The
They
video?
was younger.
The big video? The starting video?
And the India family pictures, like they want okay, the slideshow. Is there a way to fast forward? Do you know
The same
where
one?
it's going to be?
And he's one, right? Now I can play it. One that I sent, right?
Yeah. it's not easy to talk about, to come up and talk, and if there's anything that I would like to write, we've got some papers and pens that we'd love to hear from you. But what can I say? We know we have, we're going to miss him. We have a difficult journey. It would be more difficult, but the fact that I know that you're all with me will make it less difficult. So thank you all for the support that you have shown us in the last few years, and you all give me strength for what's to come ahead. So thank you.
Lass uns das auch wirklich machen jetzt.